Wadi Pan Pan, Bang. Hope you're doing good. RWS 200 just finished, or a few hours ago. Great card, great matchups for the most part, solid performances, and I do believe it lived up to the expectations that at least I had on the card. So, yeah, let's go through it in a little recap, a breakdown of the fights. The first fight, Super Bantamweight, Albert Campos versus Oscar Fonseca. I had Campos winning through third round knockout. I thought he would dominate Fonseca, who is a good fighter but a little bit wild and not as fundamental as Campos. And Campos did dominate. From the first bell to the last, he controlled the tempo, he controlled the range, he put together combinations that Fonseca didn't really have an answer to. And the only thing that I didn't predict was Fonseca's crazy chin. He survived everything, and he actually survived until the end of the fight, which those shots that he was taking would have knocked 90% of people out, probably. But he ate them. He didn't really have a lot of attacks himself, a lot of offense, but he showed that he has a chin. And I think if he can add a little bit of offense, he can definitely be a good name in the division. But today he was just outclassed. He didn't really move his head enough. He didn't utilize footwork enough, and he was rocked from the first round until the end of the fight. Campos showed that he has very good footwork, has good head movement, and he is very good at countering and also put together combinations. It's something that he's one of the best at in the division. So Campos is an interesting name, and he won through unanimous decision. I hoped for a KO, but still, I got the prediction. Wrong way of winning though, but still. Moving on. Fight number 2. Super welterweight, Award Kazimba versus Gonzalo Albinagorta. This one I did not get correct. I had Albinagorta winning through unanimous decision. I thought that his style of using a high guard, walking in with lead elbows, putting together combinations, low kicks, would rock and make it difficult for Kazimba, who is a little bit of a wild fighter, not the most technically sound at all times, but has some power, has some unorthodox attacks, if you will. And yeah, I just thought Albinagorta would utilize his strengths and push back Kazimba, which he did in the first round. He actually drops Kazimba in the first round, but then Kazimba comes back. He takes over around halfway, I would say, in the second round, and then in the third round he throws a beautiful roundhouse that clips Albinagorta and drops him. And due to the first round being 10-8 to Albinagorta, last round being 10-8 to Kazimba, the second round was split. One ref 10-9 for Albinagorta and 2 for Kazimba. That's why he won the fight. So, well-deserved win for Kazimba. I still think that fight wasn't that technical. I think both fighters showed big weaknesses. Kazimba, he gets clipped a lot, and he fights in a way where it looks like he doesn't really care about his defense, and I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's the best style to have. The commentator spoke about maybe he deserves or could work himself up to a title shot in the division. I don't see that. I don't see him challenging in the super welterweight division at all, to be honest with you. But maybe he can prove me wrong in the future. He's still a good fighter. I just think he's a little bit too wild, and I don't think he has the defense for it. Albinagorta, on the other hand, didn't show the best fight IQ in a way. When you're up before the last round and all you need to do is not get knocked down, maybe it's not the best to just walk forward. Walk. But if you only have one style of fighting, if you can't fight off the back foot, what could he really do? And yeah, he lost the fight fair and square. Kasimba performed very well from the second half of the second round and to the end. So well deserved. I got that one wrong. On to the next one. Fight number 3. Middleweight Dmitry Menshikov versus Emerson Bento. I had Menshikov, second round KO. I thought that Bento, an experienced former Rajadamnern Stadium champion, would be a little bit off the back foot, a little bit evasive in the first round, trying to stay away from the very heavy left hook and right straight from straight right from Menchikov. But he did the opposite. As soon as the bell rang, Bento walked forward, tried to get an elbow in through the guard of Menchikov, who just threw a left hook that wobbled him. He didn't drop, but it wobbled him. And then a few seconds later, in a clinch situation, like they got entangled a bit, Menchikov drops some rights, knockdown, Bento stands up, and then another heavy right from Menchikov, and the fight is over. After I don't know how many seconds in the first round, 20, 30 seconds in the first round, KO. Impressive performance by Menchikov, don't get me wrong, very impressive. He's a beast and he's going to be fun to follow in the division. But what was that game plan, Bento? If you have a fighter that you know has lead in those hands, why are you just walking into it? Why wouldn't you at least try to stay away and kind of maybe counter? Because he also has a huge range advantage. He's taller, he's lankier, he can stay on the outside, throw teeps, throw roundhouses. If you have a heavy puncher, the antidote to that is heavy kicking. But no, Bento gets in close. He gets in close and tries to get an elbow. Doesn't work. Left hook, and then it's just over after that. So yeah, I had Menchikov KO. He wins through KO. I'm happy with that, even though it wasn't the exact round, but still happy with that. Next fight, number 4, interim title fight, super bantamweight championship fight between the Rice bantamweight champion Koki OSAKI and CHAITONE Boraracha. This was supposed to be OSAKI versus Petzilla, but due to Petzilla having an injury, his teammate CHAITONE came in. CHAITONE, lanky, southpaw, whipping left kick, good elbows, good clinch, long knees, very Thai, technically a very good Thai fighter. And OSAKI, kickboxer. I had a feeling that OSAKI would get the KO in this one in the 4th round. I could see how CHAITONE would be a danger in the clinch, with the long knees, with the kicks, with especially elbows. And I still have the feeling that CHAITONE is not prepared in the defense well enough for OSAKI's heavy hands. OSAKI is a great kickboxer, a great boxer, heavy hands. And I saw before the fight, that CHAITONE, a little bit of a hole in the guard, not the tightest dynamic, a little bit of holes in there, and I thought that OSAKI would take advantage of that, which he did. He did it a lot sooner than I expected, though. In the first round, he put together some heavy hands, especially the right, getting up close to CHAITONE, really pressuring him. CHAITONE kind of turns his back around, and then he survives somehow, guards up, and then OSAKI finishes him in the first round. After he got a brutal cut, that's something that CHAITONE did good. He used the right elbow, I believe it was, cut OSAKI here, blood pouring down the face. But he stood his ground, the Japanese fighter, and he came in there. He knew what he was expecting. Didn't really seem bothered by the elbow either, and then just put his hands on CHAITONE. Got him out of there in the first round. Rice champion, now also interim super bantamweight champion in RWS, and I hope that they can put together the fight that was supposed to be against Petzilla rather soon. It's gonna be a great fight between two champions, and now they can unify RWS belt, which is great as well. So in that one, yeah, I had KO OSAKI in round 4. He won through KO, so I'll take that one too. So far, I am 3-1, which is decent so far. I felt good up until this next fight. Sorry, just got a allergy season. Rough. I felt good up until this fight, number 5, the first super fight of the night. Flyweight World Championship between the reigning champion Jigsaw and the light flyweight champion Duan Gausip Gao. And this was a rematch from last year, where in that first fight, Duan Gausip Gao won through sheer force. Jigsaw in that fight was more diverse in his attacks, elbows, knees, kicks, punches. But in that fight, Duan Gausip Gao put his hands on him and he put the vice grip in the clinch and he just dominated. Every time he threw a punch, Jigsaw wobbled almost. And when I watched that fight, I had a feeling of this one as well. I thought, okay, Jigsaw is very technical, but he does not really move his head a lot, and he does not utilize footwork that much and cut angles. So that's why I chose Duan to win this one. I thought Duan would get the unanimous decision, but as soon as the first round started, I started feeling that I made a fuck up. Because Jigsaw showed massive improvements from the fight last year in October, I believe. Head movement, very good. Slipping, not too much, but in situations where he knows Duan Gao is going to come with the right, slips. And then it's not that he slipped, he cut angles, he circled out. Duan Gausip Gao had to chase him for 5 rounds, and he didn't manage to catch him. Not with the biggest, like a big punch that Duan is known for. Yes, he did get caught sometimes, but Jigsaw was defensively sound. He teeped, he used low kicks, elbows. He cut Duan Gausip Gao over the left ear, around the left eye. Brutal. And very impressive. Very, very impressive win by Jigsaw. The footwork was, comparing this one to the last one, the head movement on point, the footwork on point, the tactic on point, the combinations on point, everything was on point. This was the most impressive performance on the whole card by a mile. Jigsaw showed insane fight IQ. He controlled the tempo, he controlled the fight. Duan was frustrated, couldn't get close to Jigsaw, and Jigsaw he did what he does best. Did what he absolutely does best, which is put together combinations, uppercuts, slipper rips, pop, 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 pop. Duan had nothing in this one. And I'm very surprised of how good Jigsaw looked, because I didn't see that in the first fight. I didn't see that type of head movement. I didn't see that type of footwork. I didn't see that type of IQ choosing to circle out when he was supposed to circle out. But crazy impressive performance by Jigsaw, who is still the champion. I can't remember if this was the 4th or 5th defense, but either way, I think he's 6-0 in RWS. And now I don't think I don't think they should do an immediate rematch. I think Duan today looked so far behind in terms of technical ability that he needs to fight some more first, preferably in the flyweight division against a good opponent. I'm not sure against who, but against some opponents there to work on some stuff. I think Duan needs to learn how to cut off the ring a little bit more, because today he was chasing. If Jigsaw circled out, he was chasing. What you should do, if someone tries to go there, you cut, and you do that through footwork. And I don't think Duan has that right now in his arsenal. At least not today. He didn't have that. I think that's something that I would like him to develop, because this is a 1-on-1 rivalry now, and they're around 20, both of them. We need to see this trilogy in RWS, preferably next year. Not for this year, but preferably next year. It's brilliant fight. Sorry, great fight, and I'm very impressed by Jigsaw. I think it's going to be difficult for anyone to take the belt from his waist. He showed insane improvements from last year's fight against Duan, and I'm impressed. I got that one wrong, and I'll hold up my hands and say that I really misjudged Jigsaw on that one. Very impressive. Next super fight, fight number 6, super welterweight world title fight, Daniel Rodriguez, the champ, versus Angel Bauza. Rodriguez was supposed to fight Ritewada, but he had to withdraw due to injury, and in comes the Argentinian elbow warrior, Ironside Bauza. I had Rodriguez winning through KO in the third round. I had a feeling beforehand that Bauza, who is not really good off the back foot, he would pressure forward. Sorry, need some more water. I got some Cage Warriors on as well. Something, a KO for someone. But Rodriguez, I had him winning through KO in the third round. I thought Bauza would pressure forward because he's not good off the back foot. And I thought he would manage to pressure Daniel a little bit in the first round. And then that Daniel would kind of grow into the fight more and more. And then in the third round, he would pressure forward and he would get the finish. He didn't get the finish due to pressure. He was still on the back foot. But Daniel, what's so interesting with him and why he is the record holding champion in RWS is his fight IQ is out of this world. Footwork on point, head movement on point, defense on point, technique on point, of course. But you can see that in the first round, he has a little bit of issues with Bauza. Bauza is wild. He comes in with wild swinging hooks, left hooks, heavy low kicks. And then Rodriguez is in a little bit of issues there. Not huge issues, but a little bit. He's getting tagged. But you can see how he figures out what to do next. You can see him really thinking about, okay, he's reading his opponent. He started realizing, okay, Bauza does this. He wants to throw a low kick. He wants to get me close. When my balance is off, he's gonna come in with the left hook, big swinging. Okay, how do I figure this out? Figure it out. And then he did. He figured that shit out. He started timing jabs, started timing crosses. He started throwing his own low kicks and then lefts after it. So low kick left and then a straight hand after. He started cutting angles. He started circling out. And that's exactly how the finish then came. Because Bauza started becoming, already in the second round, Bauza started becoming a little bit more cautious. A little bit more dumbfounded. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to catch Daniel. And Daniel was moving. And then in the third round, I did say beforehand that I thought that Daniel would finish him with punches, but I could see a left high kick. And the left high kick from hell rained down on Angel Bauza. Bauza comes in, tries to clip him. Rodriguez circles out a little bit to the left, and then he whips up his left high kick, knocks Bauza clean on the head, who is slimed out in front of a full Roger Stadium at RWS 200. And the champ did it again. I'm so impressed by Rodriguez. His fight IQ is out of this world, and there's a reason he's 51-1 now after this win. He's only lost once in his career against Jodwicha. And I don't see who can take this belt from him, honestly. In the first round, you think, maybe Bauza has a puncher's chance. And of course he does. But then the longer the fight goes, the more Daniel Rodriguez can analyze and download information on his opponent, the less likely it becomes to win that fight. I think honestly, if anybody wants to beat Rodriguez, I think you got to do it early. I think you got to fight in such a way that it's impossible for him to have time to download the information on you, to read you. he's too good. He's too technical. Everything. There's no flaws in his game, and I'm amazed by how good Rodriguez is. I don't know who's gonna take the belt from him, but either way, I had third round KO. The third round KO happened. I even predicted a left high kick, which is exactly how it happened. I'll take that one, and that one made me feel a lot better about my miss on the earlier fight between Jigsaw and Duan. So yeah, I'll take it. Daniel is he's an impressive fighter. It's ridiculous how good he is. And then the last fight, two very talented fighters, young fighters, Kostic versus Ghazali. Kostic, 20 years old, Ghazali 17. Kostic more of a sit down, move forward, aggressive boxer, throwing heavy attacks in everything he does, feints a lot. And then you have Ghazali, who is a muy femur type of fighter on the off the back foot, likes to teep, likes to come in with the counters and blitzes. I predicted a unanimous decision win for Kostic because I had a feeling that he would pressure forward, and Ghazali, in his loss against Sitongpon, he didn't manage to get out of, or in his win against Sitongpon, the first round he lost. He did win through a KO at the end, but the first round, when he gets pressured, sometimes he doesn't know how to get out of that back foot gear. He's very good off the back foot. He is very dangerous. But if you have a fighter like Kostic who feints and draws out attacks from Ghazali, he doesn't really know what to do. And that showed in this one, I think. Ghazali, he tried, but he never got out of that first gear. And Kostic, even though I think he won all rounds, but maybe the first round one judge gave it to Ghazali, or maybe that was the second. I don't remember properly. But either way, Ghazali had a chance in this fight in the last round if he. The camera cut off my storage on the iPhone. Not enough, so I had to redo it a little bit here. But I was on the last fight anyway, so it's okay. I'll just do it short. Kostic versus Ghazali. Ghazali was on the back foot. He couldn't get out of first back foot gear. I would say he's a very talented fighter. He's technical, but he does not really know how to push when he needs to push necessarily. And he's 17, so he's very young and he has time to fix this, of course. And I think he will. But Kostic, he knew what his game plan was. He was going to put his hands on Ghazali, and that's what he did. Came out with the unanimous decision, which I believed that he would. So out of all 7 fights, 5 correct, so 5 out of 7. I'm happy with that, and I'm a little bit disappointed with myself with the Jigsaw and Duan prediction, but it is what it is. We keep moving. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm sorry that it became a little bit weird with this added aspect to it, but sometimes it is what it is. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in next week's video for that card. I have no idea who's fighting yet. I'll get into it in a few days. So thank you so much for watching. Jakan, Kapkumakat.